Welcome to this seminar on how to work a job fair. Today we're going to talk about a couple of quick tips that can help you be really successful in this job fair. So we're going to talk about preparation, we're going to talk about your personal presentation, and we're going to talk about how you follow up. To start with, you should have done some homework before you got here. When you went to the ClearedJobs.Net site to register, you could have seen all of the companies that are attending. And that's the time to look at who's going to be here, who has the jobs that are most like the jobs that I'm interested in. And then from that to go to those company websites so that you learn more about what they're really offering, what they're like, and confirm that you're interested in them. Some of those are going to be companies you really think you know. Others are going to be maybe smaller companies that you don't recognize. But you really want to pick out those that have something that really interests you. And you want to take that and go from there, right up on the ClearedJobs.Net website, to that company's website to look up for more information that will help you make a good decision. And you want to look for that information before you come so that you know not only what you know about the company, but what do you need to know. If you didn't do that before you came, you want to take the handbook that they gave you at registration and go through and really look at the write-ups of the companies and the jobs that they're offering and see which ones are the best matches for you. Whether or not you did it before, you want to still take that handbook, look again, and make a plan for how you're going to go so that you're sure that if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 top companies you're interested in, that you get to them first, and then you can come back and look at other companies that you may or may not be sure you're interested in. That way you have a map of what you're doing and a plan for it when you walk in the door. Now, what are you going to do when you get in there? So, you know who you're going to talk to, you know what you're going to do in there. How are you going to present yourself? Well, the classic error is the person who walks up and says, "Hi, do you have a job for me?" And there's no energy, there's no anything, and the recruiter's got to be a mind reader, and most of us aren't. So what you want to do is have your own personal introduction. This is your little mini bio. Who are you? What do you do? What makes you unique? So it's not just your name, but it's a little bit about the type of work that you want to do. This doesn't have to be a job title. It can easily be a kind of work. And then a little bit about your experience or your education or the skills that you bring to that job. And finally, a sentence that says, very succinctly, something about you that makes you unusual. Perhaps you're a great team player. Perhaps you're a terrific project manager. Perhaps you're really good at client relations. Whatever those things are, a couple of attributes that really make you you. And those things present you really professionally to the recruiter, but they also mean the recruiter can tailor their pitch back to you because they can be thinking of specific jobs for you, not just of generic jobs that they have. The recruiter will then ask you some questions, obviously, but before you leave that recruiter, you also want to ask some questions. First set of questions you want to ask are questions that tell you whether or not you are interested in that company and that job. So they are follow-up to the research you did in preparation. They are questions that might ask about the contract, they might ask about some training program that they have. There may be any number of questions, but they show the recruiter that you've done your homework, and they tell you the things you need to know if this is a good opportunity for you. And then you need to have 2 questions answered. When will they follow up with you, and how do you contact that recruiter? So you want to get the recruiter's contact information. You want to know when you might expect to hear if they're interested in you. That gives you your own plan for follow-up. The follow-up. Tonight, when you go home, maybe tomorrow, but certainly not later, you're going to send a thank you note to the recruiters that you've talked to today. So you want to not just send them the classic, thank you very much for the interesting opportunity with the, who cares, kind of a blah, blah, blah letter. You want to send them the letter that says not only thank you, but that reminds them who you are and a couple of your key attributes. And if you're like most of us, this gives you the chance to remind them of the one perfect thing you meant to tell them, but didn't think of until after you were done. So that goes out right now. At the same time, you're making a note in your tickler file, your schedule, that says, I'm supposed to hear back in 3 weeks on job X. Now, you didn't hear from them. 2 weeks have gone by, 3 weeks. Whatever they told you was when they'd be likely to contact you. Now you can go back. It's been 2.5 weeks. They said 2. You go back and you say, I'm really interested in the job. I'd like to know how the progress is being made on the selection. And I'd like to remind you of the fact that I'm X, Y, and Z, a couple of key skills for that job. You can do that by email, you can do that by telephone, and you can do that 3 to 4 times over the following month. If you do those things, you will set yourself out from the other people at this job fair and from the other people this recruiter is going to be meeting by your professionalism, by your interest and knowledge in their organization. And those things make you a much better candidate. Thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate it.